Imagine seeing a tropical island that seemed like paradise, but once you got close, you never came back. This is the island people don't come back from. In the Bay of Bengal lies a mysterious island that no person has touched foot on. No one is welcome here. There is no airport, no school, no communication, no tourism, no external contacts, only the Sentinelese, and now extinct islanders who wish to remain undiscovered. For thousands of years they've been living in seclusion, and any intruder gravely punished. But in general, this island can be described as a forbidden island, to which many attempted to get but few succeeded to remain alive. Today, we learn about the North Sentinel Island, a forbidden place for which there are no returning individuals.
An American missionary who loved the outdoors after Allen Chau often documented his adventures by a tribe on a peaceful island in his last body.
Sentinelese is one of the indigenous tribes of the island, which is still not impacted by world civilization. They have been insulated for ages, and all efforts at interference have been met with force. Whether driven by fear, ancient tradition, or something even deeper, the Sentinelese have made one thing clear: you are not welcome. This is the story of a secret, of an island that arrived in history, and some of its questions may remain unanswered. Welcome to North Sentinel Island, the isle where you never come back again. North Sentinel Island lies in the Bay of Bengal in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands group, but unlike its neighbouring islands where several towns and tourist resort applicants can be found, North Sentinel is on an entirely different planet. Measuring a mere 23 square miles, it's virtually surrounded by thick forests and dangerous reefs, and devoid of all signs of the contemporary world. The island is so forbidden that even flying too close can result in dangerous encounters. The Indian government has declared it illegal to go within 3 miles of the island, and for good reason. Any attempt to approach the shore is met with aggression. The Sentinelese guard their island like it's a fortress, and they have made it clear time and time again that outsiders are not welcome. The Sentinelese people are one of the oldest human races on Earth. They may have lived on North Sentinel Island for over 60,000 years. That's longer than the pyramids have stood in Egypt. Theirs is believed to be a lineage of pure descendants from the first migrants out of Africa, and they have lived completely cut off, undisturbed by the technologies, languages and developments which replaced the lifestyle that people on the rest of Earth had. For centuries, the Sentinelese have followed a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. They fish in the shallow waters off their island, hunt for wild animals in the dense jungle, and build crude structures with wood and leaves. But their way of life is not only ancient, it's completely self-sufficient. They do not need modern tools, have no contact with neighbouring tribes, and have no interest in the outside world. They appear to see outsiders as a threat to their very existence. Despite other efforts made by people to communicate with the Sentinelese, almost all have resulted in tragedy. One of the first attempts to map it goes back to 1880, when a British naval officer called Maurice Vidal Portman chose North Sentinel for an expedition. He was able to capture some of the tribe members as well as take them back to his study area. But this reckless act of civilization resulted in disaster. After some time, the captives fell sick and dropped dead, possibly from diseases which were not known to them. The Indian authorities have tried to make contact with the Andamanese for over a century. Throughout the 20th century, the authorities attempted to reach the island using boats with gifts of coconuts and iron tools in an attempt to prevent conflict. Such attempts were countered by massive hostility from the Sentinelese part, in which the inhabitants attacked every invader with arrows and spears. In 1974, National Geographic filmmakers attempted to make a film about the island. Their director even was shot with an arrow and must be counted among the lucky ones who survived. The coastline itself is dangerous. The island has a natural barrier of coral reefs, which provide a barrier to boats getting closer to the island. It was in the same year, 2006, when 2 fishermen who sailed near the island tried to land there but were killed by the tribe and buried on the sand. When helicopters arrived to pick up their bodies, many were shot with arrows, and even helicopters that tried to recover their bodies had to pull back. This island, as everyone will see, is not only full of dangers, but it is also lethal. The established interaction with the Sentinelese people is one of the most well-known and deadly in the modern era. In 2018, Allen Chau, an American missionary, tried to evangelize the tribe. Chau was fully aware of the risks but hired a fisherman to take him near the island. For several days, he attacked the tribe, trying to get in touch, constantly giving them presents and trying to address the community. However, on the 17th of November 2018, his mission ended tragically as death, which still leaves a quiet question among many people. Close to the coast, he was struck with arrows and killed. His body is still settled there up to date. Alas, Chau failed to survive the savage attack of a group of island's denizens, and murderous reactions ensue.
An American missionary who loved the outdoors, Allen Chau often documented his adventures on Instagram. But these photos would be his last.
Are Chau's actions ethical or not? Chau's death leads to a massive discussion about the pros and cons of interacting with those lost tribes. Other people think that such individuals as the Sentinelese should be left alone to avoid infections or changes of their culture which might be brought about by outsiders. Some people think that is their mission to bring the actual culture and state of technology of the newly industrialized and post-industrialized nations to the rest of the planet. But for the Sentinelese, the message is clear. They have no interest in the outside world at all. But what does life in North Sentinel Island look like? What follows would be the beliefs of the Sentinels. They seem to lack religion and mythology. We may never know. With jungle-like forests dominating the island, their homes and their way of life are well and truly concealed from the main eye of the public. Other anthropologists assume that they must possess a special regimen of social relations or perception of the universe which regards strangers as being bent on annihilating them. And it may be true that this is so because as soon as traders made contacts with them, they came down with diseases and many died. To understand the Sentinelese, anthropologists and researchers try to cut the flesh and meat of the subject and present it in the form of mere physiognomic sketches of how they may live in their community. In Sentinelese, there are many questions remaining unsolved. In what ways do they transfer knowledge from one generation to another? Of the world outside their own country, what do they have an inkling about? Are they aware of the current technologies? There are no answers to these questions, which makes people more interested in the island. The Sentinelese remain one of the last secrets of our civilization, an ancient tribe in the world of globalization. However, in the modern world, when each corner of the planet has been captured, documented, and likely put on social networks, North Sentinel Island is a veritable no-go area for an anthropologist. Presently, the Sentinelese people are under the protection of the Indian law, according to which no one is allowed to go to that island. The policy is not just for people outside, but to safeguard the tribe from diseases unknown to them. Diseases that have led to the death of other uncontacted people in other parts of the globe. Some people have claimed that the only way that would in fact ensure the survival of the Sentinelese people is to let them remain as isolated as they are. Babad can teach us about the fates of tribes that suddenly found themselves in the middle of civilization. In Amazon, disease and exploitation have brought the highest level of extermination of the inhabitants. Any interaction with the outsiders and the independently, even the slightest one, might bring only disaster to the Sentinelese people. But the question remains, should they be left in the dark forever? When, if ever, do we have a moral responsibility to protect their culture and lifestyle? And more importantly, at what expense? But beyond the ethical debates lies a deeper, more personal mystery. What secrets do the Sentinelese people keep? Theorists believe that they have certain discoveries which the rest of the population has no inkling of, say, techniques or rites of the distant past. Some people claim that the Sentinelese people are the real-life castaways, the living proof that people can survive without electronics and machines. What if they have sustained something the modern world has failed to consider or even know about that pertains to plants, animals, or natural cures? With their experiences in isolation harboring details regarding the methods by which people can stand tall in the face of adversity, modify and survive? Or maybe there are evil things on the island. This place protects not only territory from intruders. There are many theories, but the answer is still behind the walls of spears and corals. North Sentinel Island is indeed not only geographically constricted, but it is much more than that. It is a mystery, an open secret, an example of how the human civilization began and how it is still living deep inside the jungles of the Indian Ocean. It's a country that opposes the world, wants development, and moves back to become isolated. It is a place with which we may never accurately account for ourselves, but one that remains thrilling and creepy to bank for. This is North Sentinel Island, the island that one does not return from. For some, mystery is designed to not be solved. Some things should remain untouched, and that is why we spend our days exploring and observing beautiful, picturesque places of our world. If this adventure into the unknown has sparked your interest, then please do remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more documentaries. Please feel free to comment below and tell us what other secrets you'd like us to expose.